And we're live.
Okay, thank you, Cody. The meeting is called to order, and I want to wish everybody a belated Happy New Year's for 2026. Teresa, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Thevis,
Yes.
trustee Johnson,
Here.
trustee Young, trustee Pandolfi, trustee Wyckoff.
Here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
On my motion, I move to approve the agenda. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Teresa, you please call the roll. Call the vote.
Trustee Wyckoff,
Aye.
trustee Thevis,
Yes,
trustee Johnson,
Aye.
the motion carries.
thank you. And my motion, I move the approval of the October 21st, 2025 minutes. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second, any discussion? Okay, Teresa?
Trustee Wyckoff,
Aye.
Thevis,
Yes,
trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries.
thank you. And now for the monthly financials, Jeremy?
Yes, good morning.
Sorry.
Flip over, thank you. This first chart is comparing our balance sheet. The column on your left is where we were at the end of the last fiscal year. So it's our audited balance as of June 30th. And the column on your right is the balance as of December 31st. Our cash and investments are just under $34 million, which is the most we've had in the last 4 years. So we've taken time to rebuild our cash balance. We did not have to borrow against the line of credit this year for the first time in the last several years. So from a cash perspective, the library is in its strongest position that it has been in since 2022. There's really nothing else of consequence on the balance sheet. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Are we going to the next page in a minute?
Yes.
Okay. Just a general question.
Uh-huh.
Is it generally accepted or used that we have a long-term assets?
The long-term.
Buildings, property, equipment, that sort of thing.
Oh, so without getting too nerdy, in government finance, those are only considered at the full accrual level. And we only present those at the audit time. So these are the fund balance, consolidated balance sheet. And that is in a non-GAAP fund, if you will, generally accepted accounting principles. So we could add it, but it would sort of muddy the water from the presentation that we're trying to do, which is really just a position of cash and current liabilities. So that you can see what your current cash is, almost $34 million, and your current liabilities, $6.5 million.
But we do maintain continuing property schedule.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, those are all presented in the ACFR. Okay, if there's no questions, we'll move on to the next schedule. So this is a comparison of taxes that we have collected from July 1st through December 31st in the current fiscal year. And then the column on your right is comparing that as a percentage of what we actually collected for the same time period last year. And as you can see, we are currently about 18% under where we were at the same time last year. I'm not going to say that this is a cause for alarm. It is a cause of concern, but I believe this is more of a timing issue than an actual revenue issue. Thankfully, we have cash reserves to support it, so it's not a critical concern for the library right now, but it is something that we're watching. We've been told by several of the counties that the senior tax credit process is much more labor intensive than they originally anticipated. And so those dollars have been collected, but they haven't been distributed because those tax credits have not yet been applied, if that makes sense. So they would not go as far as to say we will receive them in January, but they did say that they have money that they have collected but are not yet ready to distribute. So over the next several months, we should see these dollars return in a large part. And so that's why I say it's not a cause of alarm, but it is a cause of concern, and it is something that we'll just have to keep in mind as we look at cash flow going forward. That traditionally the library has received more than 70% of its revenue in December, and that may not be the case going forward with the new state laws.
What's the question?
Yep.
I'll go to Jackson County first. I saw it was, minus roughly 16%.
Uh-huh.
And as an aside, I forgot my personal property taxes. So I stood in line at the courthouse 2 days in a row, pay my taxes, which is
Thank you.
always a fun expense. Oh, yeah, it's, it's comfortable outside in
Sure.
December. But, and I know they had some problems with billings. So actually, down 15% or so probably isn't bad. I think we still have a lot of outstanding
Right,
collections to make that are going to be made. It's just that people were waiting for their statements.
right. Yeah, and we've been in conversations with the county. We have another conversation with them at the end of this month. So hopefully that will shed some more light on the situation that the new county executive has inherited and their plan to try to resolve it.
And then I assume you talked to Clay County too. That seems to be the largest.
Yes,
So
yeah.
And I know
it's just a
there's the
timing issue.
newspapers, they were talking about senior credits being.
Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the way the counties work is the dollars that are collected and available for distribution are pushed out the door on the day they do it. So
Oh.
if they got that dollar the day after, then we'll get it next month. So that's why I call it a timing issue. Clay County and Platte County only provide revenue to us once a month.
Okay.
Jackson actually does it weekly. So like I said, if a large employer doesn't pay their property or paid their property tax bill one day later than they did last year, it will show up in January rather than December. So a year-to-year comparison is helpful, but it's just providing context more than anything.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, we'll flip to the next page, which is looking at the general fund. The column on your left is the actual revenues and expenditures for July through December. The column on your right is what we had projected those revenues and expenditures to be. You can see revenues are around 78%. The majority of that is this delay in collections of property tax. On the expenditure side, we are under budget in every category, which is a good thing. Again, some of this is timing related, specifically about library materials. Those materials are ordered, but then when those orders are filled is completely out of the library's control. So we make the order and then we wait for the organization to fulfill that order. And so we're about 82% of where we had projected to be for the year. Other than that, I don't really think there's anything that stands out, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you all have about the general fund. Okay, we will move on to the next one. It's the capital project fund. This one has a little bit more activity. That activity is primarily due to the capital maintenance plan that you all approved. The majority of that being the not headquarters, excuse me, the my brain just stopped. The place, Genealogy Center. There we go. Thanks for your help. I appreciate that. I'm just kidding.
And Antioch.
And Antioch, yeah. So those are our two big projects that are going on right now, a roofing project at the Genealogy Center and a parking lot project at Antioch. There's a few other projects. The dollars that we spent to make the changes to the Colburn Road entrance are in here as well. And then you'll see the money that we spent on headquarters is really more on that planning side than it is any investment in the project. So we've earned just under $365,000 in revenue. We have expenditures of just under $850,000. So year to date, we have a deficit of about $485,000. Of course, you can see our cash balance in that fund is more than adequate to cover those costs. I'd be happy to answer any questions y'all have on the capital project.
Yeah, on Coburn Road, and the light has been installed and working in the library and in the convenience store. But at what point do we assume that we'll be able to finish the off of that road, and I forgot the name of it, to the back of our property so that people can get a full circle within them?
Yeah, I don't recall the name of that road either. What I
I
do
know.
know is that we're waiting on the utility company to move
That's right.
their assets.
Yes.
They're currently in the path of the road that we want to build. So once those have been moved,
All right.
our contractor can go in and finish that project. So unfortunately, we can't give you a timeline.
Yeah.
All we can say is that the city, the library, and the contractors are all encouraging the utility company to move their infrastructure.
And they move quickly enough. Yep, that's right. Thank you.
Any other questions on the capital fund? If not, we'll move to the next, which is our grant and gift fund. I don't really have a lot to report here, other than you all had approved that grant for the Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Project. So those expenditures have been made, but we're waiting on reimbursement now from the state. Once that happens, then those two things will offset. Other than that, I guess I'd be happy to answer any questions. I don't think there's really anything of significant in this fund to report at this time. Okay, the next is the debt service fund. There's nothing to report here. We made our first debt payment, which is interest only. The next debt payment is in August. Excuse me, February. Which will have the principal as well. And then the last slide of our presentation is the health insurance fund. Year to date, we've collected $2.8 million, roughly half of the budget. And our expenditures are slightly under what we projected, which is always a good thing, at 1.9 million. So we're currently sitting at a positive position year to date of just under $900,000. Those are all the comments I have prepared. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions of Jeremy?
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Unless there's any objection, I'd like to move item 8, lobbyist agreement, as our next matter. We have somebody waiting online, which would be helpful for his schedule. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you, trustee Thewis. Just like to say a few words about why it is that we're bringing this agreement to the finance committee for your consideration. As you all are aware, there is a lobbyist that works with the Missouri Library Association. That lobbyist represents all libraries in the state, big, small, academic, school libraries, and speaks generally about libraries and the effects of legislation on libraries as a whole. However, as we're all aware, we are unique in that we're the largest library system in the state. We span over 3 counties and rank, I would say, in the top 1 or 2 library systems when it comes to circulation and services offered. So we think it's very important that we have a lobbyist specifically assigned to this organization to work with legislators on some very important things. And the role of a lobbyist really isn't to propose legislation or to oppose it. It's really to raise awareness and educate legislators so that they're making informed decisions. Jeremy, just sort of, there's this practice when bills are proposed that or taxing jurisdictions are asked to submit fiscal notes. And Jeremy, if you had to guess, how many have you filled out this year so far?
Well, and I'd like to say this year is a out of the average, but unfortunately it's not. I've done over 100 so far with the session just kicking off. And admittedly, there's many, many more that don't involve the library that we're not,
Right.
uh,
So these notes
for.
are in essence just numbers, right? That just demonstrate the financial impact to taxing jurisdictions, if a piece of legislation were to move forward. But the lobbyist work takes it a step further, and they explain the operational impact of proposals on core services before decisions are made. And what we want is for legislators to make informed decisions. The cost of this agreement is modest, right? It's in the neighborhood of 40,000. But I just want to compare that to the amount of time it takes senior leadership to monitor legislation, attend hearings when required, and maintain relationships in Jefferson City. It's a tremendous amount of time, and we think it's a more efficient use of taxpayer dollars to engage a lobbyist to do that work for us, so that we can focus on delivering services to the community we serve. Lastly, it's come up is the ethics or the legality of hiring a lobbyist. And our legal counsel has assured us that this is a common practice. I mean, municipalities, fire departments, all sorts of organizations, universities employ lobbyists to represent them in the state capitol. And their scope of work is typically limited to monitoring legislation, answering questions from legislators, and communicating the library's legislative priorities. And then as an added value, which I think is of real value to us as an organization, lobbyists provide written legislative updates that are sent to us on a periodic basis. And I'm happy to report that we've received some updates from the James Harris Consulting Company. They've done this pro bono. And we're very appreciative of that up until this point. So I met James Harris and was very impressed with the work that he does. He's got great contacts in Jefferson City. He's a passionate library supporter, and we think he would serve us well. And so he's on the line with us. And James, if I could just turn this over to you to kind of explain a little bit about your history, and if you'd like to share any thoughts you have about your conversations with our staff, we'd greatly appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And thank you for your time today. I started in the state Senate as an employee. I left and went to Washington, D.C., served as a chief of staff for a congressman, came back to Missouri, worked for Governor Matt Blunt, and realized at that point, I really didn't want to be a state employee my entire life. And so I left, set up my firm. We have kind of a wide range of clients ranging from big companies like Carvana and Deloitte and Anthem down to over in your way, trade association out in Grain Valley, OOIDA, got Nabolt's Construction, which has an office in Kansas City, and litany of others. What we really try to do is, and you said it very well, help you all focus on your core mission and job by giving you the information, what we're seeing, what we're believe is happening, relaying that information, intelligence to help you all use your time more efficiently. And to talk to lawmakers when maybe they don't have all the information. An average lawmaker is pulled in 100 different directions on a given day. I mean, in 5-minute increments. The vast majority want to do good stuff. Sometimes they might not have all the information. And so we help kind of bring a focus, kind of have a discussion, break it down in a way that they can digest. We've seen a tremendous amount of legislation on property taxes, personal property taxes, the whole topic. And there's going to be a lot of different ideas there, and a lot, and lawmakers, we can help just give them all the information so they can make the best decision, and make sure you all as a board are aware of what's going on and how that could impact you, your operations.
James, if I could just stop you right there. Of our legislative priorities, I mean, we recognize that property tax reform is a priority in the legislature. And our primary goal here is, and we do understand that this is an issue that affects all the residents of each of our 3 counties. But what our ask is, and I think every other taxing jurisdiction, is that legislators understand the impact of a decision before it's signed into law. And so that is where you come in and everyone else who engages with legislators.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
No, you're not. And then also, and we work on, the other issues that you ask us to monitor, track and things that could impact libraries. Just so, again, we can give all the information to members of the General Assembly, and no one's caught off. They're not caught off guard, and neither are you all as a board.
Right. And what James referring to is our draft legislative priorities for 26. Obviously, revenues is one thing that we're tracking. Protecting intellectual freedom, which would be of no surprise to anyone. Maintaining state funding for libraries, because we have concerns about the effects of state funding on small rural libraries, which are part of our community. We're very supportive of preserving local control, and what we mean by that is from time to time, proposals come up where legislators think an elected library board would be better than appointed. And we feel that the values of this community are representative through the appointment process. And so we're very supportive of that and think that elected library board officials would not only be costly, but I think confusing to many people that we serve. And lastly, which is something that I think we'll address in full board, is we support healthy digital environments for youth. And that's a little bit outside of our normal legislative priorities. But in this day and age, with the rise of AI and social media and its effect on the learning of young children, we think it's important that the library stands behind any efforts to manage this technology and kind of mitigate the risk it has on young people. So, all right. James, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I would just mainly, say kind of in conclusion, what lobbyists don't do, or I don't do, we don't go off half-cocked. The lawmaker asks me something and I'm not 100% sure, I'll say, I don't know, let me check and get back with you. I'll come back to you. I only act on legislation and monitor things that you all are within your legislative agenda. If I think something could impact you, I will note it in our weekly reports and then get guidance back. And so hopefully that kind of helps just explain things we will do and things we would not do.
All right.
Any questions for our guest?
Yes. Mr. Harris, this is Bob Johnson. I am just looking, it's just a clarification on Article 4 of your agreement, compensation and payment.
Yes, sir.
You have that in front of you?
Just give me 1 second. I will grab it.
It almost looks like, and reproducing this over and over, making changes, something maybe just got lost, but on, as you're looking for it, on Article 4, it refers to the monthly payment. But it says for months January 2026 through July 2026. Insuring services through pre-filing and post-session period. Well, pre-filing is in December, unless you're talking about some type of pre-filing for a special session.
Great question. When I submitted this, I think it was in November, assuming the pre-session for December of 25, and then going through the reason the end of July, because the governor has until July 15th to act on in all legislation. He acts on the budget by the end of June, policy or legislation by July 15th. And so we might have to make a change to that since.
Well, I guess what I just want to understand that basically this contract is through July 2026.
Yes, sir.
But we assume this is ongoing, but I just wanted to make sure that, because the concept of pre-filing in January through July is obviously no longer relevant.
Correct. And we make that change. And
Yeah,
The
that's,
reason when I sent that over, as that proposal was mainly, for you as a board to as an organization, find out, do we add value? Is there a good service there? And, at some point, if you all want to revisit continuation, we could at that point.
yeah, I was just making sure we're all aware that there really isn't, from January through July, there really isn't a pre-filing period.
Yes.
Yeah, that, otherwise I don't have another question.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you for your
Right.
time this morning.
So I think at this point,
Does he have any questions of us?
yeah, do you have anything you'd like to ask us?
No, you've been, Aaron, and your staff, great on communicating. A lot of I'd say, if we move forward, information we have on like who to send our reports to and kind of the issues that you want to track. And so that would be my only question at this point. You've kind of, your team have already answered that.
Right. If the full board authorizes this agreement next Tuesday, then the more substantive conversations will happen with the two that you already met, Jim and Sarah, I think, and then we'll just work on a plan for the year. But yeah, I think we should be in good shape.
Great. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time this
Yeah, Chris and James, thank you both
Thank
for
you,
all that
James.
you've done up until this point.
No problem, sir.
So do we have anything written for
Okay, this is a voting matter. Yeah, do we have a proposed resolution? Okay, great.
could you?
The Finance and Audit Committee recommends that the Board of Trustees approve entering into an agreement with J. Harris for lobbying services for the 2026 legislative session.
Okay, I move passage of that resolution. Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion?
no, the only, but what did you say, enter into an agreement with, how'd you,
I can read it again. The Finance and Audit Committee recommends that the Board of Trustees approve entering into an agreement with J. Harris for lobbying services.
okay, at that point, should we say J. Harris Company or? That's what I meant, because that's just, what you were just reading is an individual's name.
Yeah, what is the
It's
official name?
on
of
the
this?
agreement that was done. It says J. Harris Company.
J. Harris Company. I can add company to it.
Sure. Yeah, this isn't a major, well, I guess it is.
I can
One
reread
individual
that.
to a company, so.
Okay. The Finance and Audit Committee recommends that the Board of Trustees approve entering into an agreement with J. Harris Company for lobbying services for the 2026 legislative session. Is that better? We already have a first and a second.
Okay, sure. I guess part of the discussion is that, as Aaron had mentioned, this is the largest library system within the state of Missouri. It encompasses 3 separate counties, whereas most other, if not, I would just, well, the absolute majority of areas covered by a particular library are a single municipality. And when I had a chance to attend Missouri library gatherings, the report we got, at least in my impression, was very, very generic, and understandably so, because there are just a host of different postures of the various libraries within the state. So I think this is a very, very prudent effort that should be undertaken. That's my editorial.
So let me just, if I could latch on to that, yes, our size is important. I know, and Aaron mentioned in that conversation with Mr. Harris that there are bills in to have library members elected. And I'm certainly for elections, but you sit in a county like Jackson that has what, population in the district of 400 and some thousand people. It'd be tough to run in elections where 402,000 people, well, not children and so forth, but there'd be probably 200,000 people that could vote, and that'd be a very difficult way to elect Jackson County representatives and place fairly large too. So yeah, it might work well in smaller counties, but yeah, we need somebody that kind of understands how things impact our particular mid-continent public system.
Yeah, I think with the previews that we're having for the session, everything from extensive comment about the eradication or elimination of the income tax, and I think there's just a host of things that are coming up that could have a real impact on us. So any other comments, discussion? Right, Teresa, would you please call the roll? Or the vote?
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Davis,
Yes.
trustee Wykoff,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, next matter is we're tossing back to
6.1.
Jeremy. So you please comment on the accounting system migration.
Yes. Excuse me. I had asked one of my staff people to come in and give their impression of what's happening. Unfortunately, they're ill today, so they weren't able to do that. So I'll just share with you, from my perspective, I think obviously with any transition from one system to another, there are, bumps and hurdles as people learn the new system and learn the new processes. But on the whole, I'd say that, we in the finance department feel like we're getting better documentation for transactions. We've got a clear audit trail of who approved what and when. Our reports, as you saw, are easier, I think, for us to update and compile for the board. And so we believe, the transition has been a smooth one. The final step in the transition that we're currently working on is more on the cash receipting side. As we have 34 locations and they all do it a little bit different. So that's probably our biggest project remaining. But other than that, we feel like the transition's been successful and we've gotten the improved efficiencies that we were after.
Great, thank you. And another matter is that some thoughts on changing our reporting or fiscal year to a calendar year.
Yes, that's the next item on the agenda. I just emailed a spreadsheet to Brian, so hopefully you can throw this up here. I don't know if we can blow that up or not. My hope was to sort of outline what our calendar looks like now. That's the first row. So we start our budget process in February. The staff submits their budget to Aaron. He reviews that with them through March and April. We present that budget to you all in May and June, hold the public hearing. And then once you adopt the budget, it's effective July 1, goes through June 30th. Then we start an audit process July 1, and we're usually done and audit presented in September. So with the legislature changing the fiscal year or authorizing you all to establish a fiscal year, we've ran several simulations, and we feel like a calendar year is probably the easiest and most efficient fiscal year moving forward. If we wanted to track the tax year to its reality, perhaps a December 1st to November 30th would be better, but that 1 month may cause you more consternation than it's worth. So at this point in time, we will recommend changing that fiscal year, and how that will happen is we'll do what's called a stub year. So you all will approve a budget for July through December, either in 26 or 27, whenever you decide to make that transition. And we'll hold a public hearing, we'll do the whole thing for that. At the same time, we'll do the fiscal year, which will be January through December. So essentially you'll be approving 18 months all at once. the stub year will happen and no one will really, have much to say about it. Finance, we'll go through that audit process, then we'll go through the full fiscal year, and that will be the new, sort of cycle moving forward.
In terms of your group within the headquarters, would that be an absolute undue imposition if you can consider 2026?
Well, we have a lot of things going on right now. I don't think it would be an absolute undoing, but, I think we're gonna want to take a little time and, evaluate between the headquarters project and other cash receipting that I just talked about. It may be more prudent to just go through 26 in the normal process and start this in 27, but we'll have that recommendation to you fairly soon.
Good, thank you. Any questions of Jeremy? Right, and our next matter is just an open discussion on interim information. The decision was made, and I think quite wisely, to have actual personal gatherings on a quarterly basis. That, however, doesn't undo a need for information during the 2 intervening months through this sequence. And if there's any particular bits of information that would be helpful to any member of the board, I think this is our time, and certainly in the future, to share those thoughts and have them pass on to Aaron and Jeremy. My thought is that a great deal of work is put into to modify the reports that we have at our meetings. The detail, however, is always available, but in the past, we had information like previous year's activity to previous years of budget. That information has been eliminated because it's been, at least, I think the consensus is that was of limited value, yet a lot of work for headquarters. So we're having abbreviated reports at our in-person meetings. So I'm wondering, Jeremy, would it be realistic to have the same type of information we have at our in-person meetings provided provided for the 2 months between the meetings?
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, great. For me, that would satisfy any needs I have. If questions are triggered, the detail is going to be available, and I would request that. So any other discussion, comments? This is an open matter. There's no need for any kind of resolution at this moment. Okay, any other business? Yeah.
I didn't follow the City of Independence, City Council, what action on the City Hall, what is they?
So they voted, they authorized the city to sign the letter of intent, and we've countersigned, and the conversations have begun.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, the next matter is to vote on the adjournment. I move that we adjourn this meeting. Second. It's moved and second that we adjourned. All in favor, please.